Addressing the issues that matter most inside our community. From all of us at KBLA Talk 1580, happy holidays. Stay tuned for more details on these incredible upcoming events. KBLA Talk 1580, your voice, your community, your power.
Junior show. The Jesse Jackson Junior show. The Jesse Jackson Junior show. The Jesse Jackson Junior show. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me. Come on and talk with me. Come on and
Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Tenacious Tuesdays on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, and I'm particularly honored that at the bottom of the hour, Michael Cohen, Trump Fixer, will be joining us to talk all things Donald Trump. But in the first half hour, I am particularly honored that two of our regular contributors are with the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show for the first half hour of our show. None other than John Diggles. Mike Worldwide PR alum John Diggles serves as CEO and founder of Ascent Strategies, providing services in digital transformation, corporate storytelling, employer brand strategy marketing, of clinical research, and ROI measurement. The agency's IP uses proprietary communications algorithms, combining online community insights, medical professional perspectives, patient observations, and market data to promote adoption of telemedicine, remote patient monitoring, and healthcare artificial intelligence, among other offerings. A veteran of the healthcare space, Diggles is focused on targeting issues of health equity and education and how digital health can be used to bridge these gaps. The health crisis, that is, the staffing crisis, is also a key reason he said he felt the need to create an agency in this space. Diggles started with MWW in 1997 as SVP and Chicago GM. He rejoined the agency in 2012 as Chicago GM. Prior to his second stint at MWW, Diggles serves as an SVP at Edelman. Diggles is also the founder and producer of Traveler Jones Productions, a feature film and documentary production company. Also joining us in this hour, our regular contributor to our Let's Talk About It series, political activist, analyst, and every second Tuesday of the month, our guest is none other than John Lesiotis. Let's talk about it. With John Lesiotis, he puts real talk in the middle of the floor about the ways Republicans view Democrats and vice versa in a dialogue filled with messaging and messenger truths. John Lesiotis, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. He'll be here momentarily. And John Diggles, I am really glad that you're here. How are you, brother?
Jesse, it's good to see you. Thank you. Thank you for having me on.
John, Donald Trump says nothing is wrong with the economy. How outrageous and how ludicrous is that? What kind of bubble is he living in?
I mean, it's a very dangerous bubble because it's not just, hey, nothing's wrong with the economy. He gives the economy an A++++, right? And so that is definitely a dangerous bubble for so many people because not only do we have an affordability issue, we increasingly have an unemployment issue. We increasingly have a low hiring rate issue that's going to suppress new jobs, that's going to suppress wages, and it really puts working people across America in a really tough spot when we have one reality in the White House and another one coast to coast across the country.
John, let's talk about that one reality in the White House. We've had presidents, for example, who didn't even know that groceries were being scanned in grocery stores. And now we have a president who lives in the surplus by any objective imagination or stretch of the imagination. And yet the highest office in the land, the person responsible for directing the economy for the least of these, seems to think that everything is going very well from the White House perspective, looking down upon his subjects.
I mean, that's really scary into that bubble part of this, right? You have people across the country, they can't afford homes, can't afford property taxes. But in DC, we're building the biggest ballroom that's going to be bigger than the White House, right? We have so many things that are not talked about. We have tariffs that are crushing prices at the grocery store. We're given a $12 billion bailout to farmers across the country. We're sending $40 billion in a bailout to Argentina, and Argentina is taking the farmers' markets, especially in things like soybeans. It makes no sense. The problem is these political narratives just do not add up to what people are living and feeling, and it's really impacting people across the country. I mean, there's some real pain in America right now because of the economy.
John, is there any sense that the party that's in the minority, the Democratic Party, is picking up on the messaging that these politics are very local and that discussing the issues that matter in their districts or in their states or in their space ought to be broken down to the micro level of the politic to inspire voters to participate in the midterms?
I think we're seeing that, Jesse, and I think we need to see a lot more of it. It needs to be ramped up and aggressive. The last time I was on your show was Election Day at the beginning of November, and that was a very good night for Democrats that talked about the economy. Today, we have a mayoral race in Miami, and it could be the first time in a couple of decades that we have a Democratic mayor in Miami. And that's because these candidates are out talking about affordability. They're out talking about what's really, really happening in the economy. And, you know, one of the things I so respect about the way you do this show is you're talking about some of these numbers, such as nobody else is talking about the unemployment rate for Black women, which is around 7.5% right now. And that is a significant flashing point in the economy. When you have a hiring rate that is now at lowest levels that we've seen since the Great Recession, and you have certain groups like Black women at 7.5%, what's the road forward when the hiring rate is so low that no demographic group can recover? And then you have some that are suffering at a higher rate than others. These are real concerns, and that's what we have to be talking about. Real numbers impacting real people across America.
And we are talking about highly skilled African-American women. We are talking about the core of the middle class. They're on the receiving end of Trump's, not only his tariffs, but also his anti-DEI initiatives, for which many of us, Black men, brown men, Black women, white women, but also brown men and women, have been the overwhelming beneficiaries. He is simply targeting us. John, when we come forward, you're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. We're going to talk more about the bubble that the President of the United States is living in. We're going to probe it even deeper at the bottom of the hour when one of Donald Trump's best friends, his former fixer, Michael Cohen, will be our special guest. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580 with John Diggles and John Lesiotis.
While you're stuck in traffic, we can at least bring you up to speed on the news of the day. You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. only on KBLA Talk 1580.
Nugget Bells, nuggets all the way.
Hi, I'm Kylie.
I'm John.
And I'm Garrison.
And a little thing we love about the 30-count Chick-fil-A nuggets
Is sharing them when we cut down the Christmas tree.
we will pack the car with gifts. And of course, we go and pick up our family's favorite nuggets.
Every nugget is tasty times quadrillion.
And we get all the sides.
Yeah, the ooey gooey mac and cheese is a big hit.
Share the nuggets, share the joy. Order the 30-count Chick-fil-A nuggets on the Chick-fil-A app. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Break out the champagne. Everybody get glass.
KBLA Talk 1580 congratulates our own Keith Underwood, host of the weekend entertainment show Black in the Green Room, on his recent honor at the annual National Arts and Entertainment Journalism Awards. Keith received a first place award presented by the Los Angeles Press Club for his entertainment reporting, and we couldn't be prouder. Congratulations, Keith, from all of us at KBLA Talk 1580.
Is reviewing life insurance on your to-do list? Now's the perfect time to add it. A friend recently told me that securing life insurance sooner rather than later can help you lock in lower rates for years to come. So I bumped this up on my list and got it done. I called SelectQuote and couldn't believe how easy and affordable life insurance is. I'm 40 and got a $500,000 policy for $16 a month. My husband's also 40 and his $500,000 policy was only $18 a month. Plus, with SelectQuote's same-day coverage, there was no medical exam required, and we were covered by the time we hung up. Knowing I have this checked off my list feels amazing, but the peace of mind knowing my family is protected feels even better.
Call SelectQuote at 1-800-729-7070. That's 1-800-729-7070. Or go to SelectQuote.com to get your free quote today. That's 1-800-729-7070. Details on example rate at SelectQuote.com.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, more time online, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. But LifeLock monitors millions of data points per second. If your identity is stolen, our US-based restoration specialists will fix it, guaranteed, or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code NEWS. Visit lifelock.com. Terms apply.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto LLC, NMLS ID 1702840, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies, an SEC registered advisor.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Welcome to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA. We began our conversation today at the top of the hour. Special guest Mike Cohen has come in for the show. Michael Cohen, lawyer and legal expert who served as personal attorney, confidant, and informal problem solver or fixer for Donald Trump, the 45th and 47th President of the United States. Cohen was also senior executive of the Trump Organization, a private conglomerate of Trump-owned corporations and partnerships. Today, Michael Cohen, the former Trump lawyer, is actively involved in public commentary, hosting his Mea Culpa podcast, publishing books about his experiences, and appearing as a frequent guest on cable news, focusing heavily on criticizing Donald Trump and discussing current political events, including urging the release of the Epstein files, all while navigating legal issues and past disbarment from law practice. I want to welcome Michael to the show, and I want Michael to know that I am so grateful for all of the text messages and heartfelt concerns that he has sent me about my father, the Reverend Jesse Jackson. Michael, when I do talk to my dad and when he is able to talk, he often thanks you in particular for all that you've done, because he knows that the transformation that you've gone through in the last few years has been an amazing spiritual journey. Michael Cohen, welcome forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
Good to see you, Jesse. And I always wish your father the absolute best. To those listeners, it's actually how I ended up meeting Junior. Is through his father. His father is truly just he's a national hero. Let me just say that, and somebody to be admired for many, many generations to come.
Michael, I really appreciate you being here. I also have our good friend John Lesiotis, one of our regular contributors. We began a conversation, Michael, which you.
I think you're forgetting about the other John too.
That's right. I got John Diggles already and John Lesiotis. We began a conversation about the bubble that Donald Trump is clearly living in. He added all of these pluses to how he thinks and how he feels the economy is doing. To what do we owe the insulation of the President of the United States from the suffering and the pain that the American people are actually experiencing?
Because he's completely devoid of anyone around him who's sharing the accurate information. When I'm on my I do on Substack as well on Thursdays with Malcolm Nance and Lev Parnas. We have a show called Unleashed where we regularly talk about this. They are living in a completely different world than any of us. They're living in a universe which is like that television show, The Upside Down World, or if you're a Superman fan, Bizarro Land. They only see what is good for them. And by the way, this cabinet, if you add up the amount of money that this cabinet has made individually outside of Washington altogether in their various different corporations. I mean, I was watching the other day, Howard Lutnick, as an example, is the former CEO of Cantor Fitzgerald. His company, under the control of his two sons, right, who have zero experience in Cantor Fitzgerald, in trading and so on. Cantor Fitzgerald is up slightly over 25% year over year. I mean, that is an extraordinary return. In fact, I wouldn't be shocked if somebody said to me that Howard himself, as the largest shareholder of Cantor Fitzgerald, probably banked an additional $1.5 to $1.8 billion, right? And what makes this so grotesque is it's not that they've invented anything. It's not that they have done anything which helps Americans, whether it's from the farmers all the way to the construction workers, to union workers. No. This is all about the 1/10 of the 1%. Those who are closest, the proximity to power, are benefiting, and everybody else, as Marie Antoinette would have said, right, let them eat cake.
John Lesiotis, this could be the biggest grift that we've ever seen in the history of the United States.
Without question. So even a right-wing blogger, Jack Posobiec, is that how you pronounce his name?
Posobiec.
Yeah, even he was in Washington, I think, 2 weeks ago, Jesse. And when he left Washington, he said even he was disgusted by the amount of just open grift going on, that he was disgusted by it. And he's about as far right-wing as you could possibly get. So, when he starts criticizing it, that people are starting to notice.
John and John, how about the fact that right now, we are living in what's the 3 J's over here. We're living in a time where the president himself is interjecting, right, his authority into the Paramount Netflix Discovery deal, right? What people aren't aware is that his son-in-law is involved in one of the companies that are trying to acquire, right, the Netflix. Despite that, this is out of control. And the greatest is the line that he responds when asked a question by the media. I haven't spoken to him. I don't talk to him about it. Seriously? Seriously? What else are you talking? Does it not shock the conscience that within 30 days of Kushner leaving the White House during the first administration, at the end,
$2 billion.
he starts a company and it gets funded solely by Saudi Arabia, by Mohammed bin Salman, the first person, remember, that Mohammed bin Salman called after the execution and dismemberment of Jamal Khashoggi. Does it not shock the conscience that $2 billion plus was given to Kushner, who has never run a fund in his life? In fact, folks from the Saudi Arabia Investment Authority in their finance department turned around and said, he is the least competent person within which to run our money, and they don't recommend it, to which MBS turned around and said, that's great, now wire the money.
Right.
John Diggles, the administration, the president of the United States, has an iron grip over the regulators of this behavior, including but not limited to a Justice Department who should be striking fear in every elected official in Washington, D.C. over this behavior. Does it strike you as odd that the Department of Justice is not independent in light of the grift that's taking place?
Strikes me as odd and strikes me as alarming. And Michael Cohen, you can tell he's an attorney, man. He make a great prosecutor. He just prosecuted the case very, very well here, right? But when we see what's happening here, including with tariffs, where companies can go and buy their way out, right? Offer up money. Look, if that's the way it's done business, you're crushing small businesses across the country when it comes to tariff. Tariffs are wiping them out and they're not able to properly keep up. How can you pay your way out if you're getting crushed by it? But we see the same thing happening across all these agencies, is this sense of favoritism. It's not justice. It's not treating everybody equally and giving equal opportunity. It's favoritism, and there's a way to pay to get what you need to give yourself an economic boost. That's very dangerous for workers across America, as well as the well-being of the country.
You know, John, this isn't even about money, by the way. It's not only money that you need to give to the president in order to get a benefit. All you need to do is come with a shiny little object. You got FIFA, for God's sakes, with the president, the FIFA Medal of Peace. Really? You know, I mean, for God's sake.
That's already.
I mean, if you want, give the guy a signed freaking soccer ball or something. But they've created a Medal of Peace, right? Because of the Nobel Peace Prize. Now you got the FIFA. I mean, the whole thing is just beyond. Or you have Tim Cook, who gave him a plaque where the base of the plaque is made of solid gold. It's like 5 pounds. That's $360,000 worth of gold, basically, to sit. Now, look. Chances are he's not going to take that back to the apartment on Fifth Avenue. He's not going to leave it at Mar-a-Lago. He's certainly not going to let Don Jr. or Eric get it, because they'll melt it down into little coins, right? He's going to put it into the ultimate presidential library, which has been now paid for by Harvard and ABC and CBS and all the others that have been extorted. You don't need to give him cash. They're doing it right out in the open. They're not even hiding the fact that they are out there in the open and saying, come one, come all, just bring something. In fact, all you need to do is just bring me a crown, bring me a sword and a scepter, and whatever you need, I'll figure it out. We'll make a deal, because everything's about the deal, right? I mean, there comes a point in time where just, right?
That's good, Michael.
Where there comes a point in time where this is, as you just said, so damaging to the small business guy, because the small business owner can't show up with 5 pounds of gold, can't make a scepter or a crown. None of that crap. You can't do it. They don't have the money. And two, even if they did, maybe they want to make a profit for themselves that they could put money away for a rainy day.
And hire more people. I mean, new small business owners are getting so much of what's happening in the job market is small business owners can't hire anybody because they're getting crushed by tariffs. That's killing jobs across
John, you have no idea what you're talking about. You're a bad guy. You're bad, right? In fact, we have the lowest unemployment. We have the highest GDP. We're the strongest country ever. We're the hottest country. And you sit there and you say to yourself, okay, by the way, we've been the hottest country for a long time.
That's right.
2.5, our GDP is 2.5 times that of China. Nobody even comes close. And by the way, it was 2.5 times the GDP during the Biden administration as well.
Michael, you know, we got about 3 minutes before we come forward, and we're going to play a clip when we come back from the break. But let me ask you this question, because I need to pivot right here to the fact that President Trump has, and I know you've been one of the nation's single most and foremost champions of forgiveness for the American people. He's now pardoned the Honduran president. The Honduran government has said now that they want to issue an arrest warrant wherever he is in the world. They want him shipped back to Honduras to face his penalties. He's pardoned Giuliani. What does this gross miscarriage of justice, from your perspective, mean for 70 million Americans? We have about 2 minutes before we come forward. Michael?
So to the listeners that are out there, please know that one of the things that Jesse Jr. and I have done is we've crafted a very specific letter that we have sent to the president, both independently and cumulatively. We have sent it to the president along with something that we have now called TEPO, T-E-P-O, and that's the Trump Emancipation Proclamation Order, right? Because he likes acronyms and he likes his name in it too, like the buildings or the coins or, you know, the White House, right? It's now the Trump White House. You know, TEPO is an incredible concept. And what it does is it offers to nonviolent felons, nonviolent, right? There could be no violence in the PSR. That's the pre-sentencing report. It requires that you have done your time and that you have handled all your restitution, all your obligations, and it gives them the ability within which to have that felony conviction removed so that they could be properly integrated into society. And the way Jesse explains it is even better than I, because it will bring in trillions of dollars in terms of increased income based upon the 70 million individuals who now have that scarlet letter attached to them.
We just want to live free. That's all, John Diggles, John Lesiotis. We just want to live free. John?
It's simple.
John?
It's very simple.
Mr. Lesiotis?
Yes.
We just want to live free.
That's all.
That's all we're asking. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. None other than Michael Cohen is our very special guest. Our regular contributors, John Lesiotis and John Diggles, are with us in part of this hour. But I'm particularly grateful that Michael took time out of his extraordinarily busy schedule to spend some time with us this afternoon. More on Tenacious Tuesdays with Jesse Jackson Jr., John Diggles, John Lesiotis, and Michael Cohen when we come forward on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
The biggest names, the best conversations. You're riding with Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is running for U.S. Senate, but some political analysts say the odds are stacked against her.
Normally vote Republican, but really will not like Ken Paxton.
GOP strategist Vinnie Manchillo claims she's banking on Gen Z turnout, which has historically been low. No Democrat has won statewide in Texas in over 30 years. A dozen former FBI agents are suing after being fired for kneeling during a 2020 protest following the killing of George Floyd. The lawsuit claims their First and Fifth Amendment rights were violated, even though investigators later cleared them of wrongdoing. Senate Republicans are weighing different health care plans, with some pushing to keep Obamacare subsidies in place and others calling for the expanded aid to end. Lawmakers are set to vote on a Democratic proposal later this week, though it's unlikely to pass, and Republicans have not yet settled on a counterplan. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
For victims of drunk and drug driving, our grief is unique, but you are not alone. You always have a place at MAD. Call our 24-hour victim helpline at 877-MAD-HELP or visit mad.org.
This is the KBLA Sports Minute with Ray Richardson.
A weird game at SoFi Stadium last night, but the Chargers hung on and got the W. They beat Philadelphia 22-19 in overtime, a game that had 8 turnovers. Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert was sacked 7 times. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts had 4 interceptions. The last one ended a potential game-winning drive in overtime at the 1-yard line. The Chargers are 9-4. HBCU Florida A&M is looking for a new head football coach. James Cozy was fired Monday. Cozy was 12-12 in 2 seasons, including 5-7 this year. Got to give a shout out to my alma mater, Illinois State University. The football team is coming to California this weekend to play UC Davis Saturday in the quarterfinals of the Division I AA playoffs. We're coming to Cali after knocking off the number 1 team in the nation, undefeated North Dakota State, 29-28. No debates, no speculation, just the info you need. That's your KBLA Sports Minute. I'm Ray Richardson on KBLA Talk 1580.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
Hi, I'm Zoe Williams, a.k.a. the Voice of Reason, encouraging you to join me weekdays from 7 to 9 p.m. for the world's most intriguing relationship radio roundtable. Every night, I facilitate and encourage our loyal listeners to participate in the most engaging relationship discussions you'll hear anywhere. So make it a point to rendezvous with me, Zoe Williams, the Voice of Reason, Monday through Friday, 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Trust me, your relationships will never be the same. The VOR is on fire tonight.
Unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. We've got your black.
In a city as big as LA, healthcare shouldn't feel far away. That's why Cedars-Sinai is breaking down barriers and bringing resources like free screenings, vaccinations, and wellness programs into local communities. From Leimert Park to Lincoln Heights and everywhere in between, Cedars-Sinai is showing up, partnering with over 200 local organizations to improve access to healthcare resources. Because care doesn't just happen inside a hospital. It happens in neighborhoods and places around the city where we live, work, and grow. Cedars-Sinai, here for LA.
In California, all workers have rights, no matter their immigration status. If you or a family member were detained by federal immigration authorities and did not receive your final paycheck, contact the Labor Commissioner's office. You can file a claim even if you left California or the U.S. Call 833-526-4636 from the U.S. or outside the country 001-833-526-4636. Document wage theft and report it to the Labor Commissioner's office.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy place, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the DayQuil.
Undo your flu symptoms with DayQuil Intense Flu. DayQuil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
DayQuil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
With the new IHOP value menu, $6 is all it takes to go to your happy plates, where stacks of pancakes with bacon and eggs are just $6 every day. French toast, sausage, and eggs are, you guessed it, $6. And fluffy omelets come with a side of pancakes and only cost $6. Go to your happy plates every day at IHOP. $7 in some locations. Available every day for a limited time at participating restaurants in the U.S. Hours may vary. No substitutions. Not valid with other discounts or promotions. Prices may vary.
Oh, how's that flu, babe? Did you take DayQuil Intense Flu yet?
Nah, I got this. Ugh, okay, I don't got this.
You stay on the couch, and I'll grab the Dayquil.
Undo your flu symptoms with Dayquil Intense Flu. Dayquil Intense Flu provides powerful relief of your flu symptoms.
I'm ready for that to-do list.
Wow, you do got this.
Dayquil Intense Flu. The daytime coughing, aching, fever, under your flu medicine. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
You're listening to Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Looking forward to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. Our very special guest in this hour is none other than attorney Michael Cohen. It doesn't get any better or any clearer than what Michael is commenting on with respect to the Trump administration. All that's going on around our country. Our regular contributors also, John Diggles and John Lesiotas, are also joining us. And just before I go to the clip that Gina is about to bring up, just before I go to it, only on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show, can you think about pancakes and drinking Dayquil at the same time? Let's go to the clip.
President Trump is about to take his economic message on the road. He'll visit a critical swing district in eastern Pennsylvania today as he celebrates the state of the economy. He said this in an interview with Politico.
I do want to talk about the economy, sir, here at home, and I wonder what grade you would give
A+.
your economy. A+.
Yeah, A++++++. But many Americans strongly disagree. A recent CBS News YouGov poll found 60% believe the president makes things sound better than they really are when it comes to prices and inflation. 27% said he's right on point. 13% feel he paints a gloomier economic picture than what's really happening. Let's go to CNN senior White House reporter Kevin Liptak right now. Kevin, is this the message people in Pennsylvania can expect to hear today from the president?
Yeah, and this is really an opportunity for the president to road test that economic message and his claims that he's bringing prices down. This event itself has become something of a rarity for the president. You know, we really haven't seen him go out for a campaign rally style event speaking to his supporters about his agenda since April. And many of his allies have felt that that was just too long, that it signaled a lack of focus and attention on the people and the issues that brought him to the White House in the first place. And so that will be sort of his mission when he is up in the Poconos today. Now, whether the president delivers the message that many Republicans want him to deliver, I think is a second question. You know, the president has spent the last several weeks really downplaying this idea of affordability, calling it a con job, calling it a hoax. And so it remains an open question of whether he will be able to sort of convince some of these people that he's speaking to in eastern Pennsylvania that he's doing everything he can on the economy. I want you to listen to more of what the president said in that political.
Michael, 2 weeks ago, just 2 weeks ago, the government of the United States shut down. In large measure because 44 million Americans need the Affordable Care Act. After they get finished working, they still can't afford health care. And 43 million Americans need a supplemental nutrition assistance program because they work 1, 2, or 3 jobs and can't afford enough food to put food on the table for their families. What kind of tone deafness are we really looking at, Michael?
Well, it's clearly antithetical to say, Matthew 6:14, right? Active forgiveness in daily life, to be kind, to be compassionate, to let go of the bitterness, to forgive, right? As Christ forgave them. It's funny because you have this whole group of Bible preachers that are there in this administration, or let me rephrase it, trying to make the claims that they are holier than thou when they are doing the exact opposite of, I guess, what Jesus would have done, which is to take in those who are less fortunate. In their opinion, if you are less fortunate, well, that's on you. As long as I got my new yacht, my new G650, or, my new Boeing business jet, going to my 8th home that, is sitting on, I don't know, 150 feet of bulkhead for the Pacific Ocean. I mean, this is the problem. There is no compassion coming out of this group at all. They truly, truly believe, as I was saying before, in the old Marie Antoinette adage, let them eat cake. They don't care. They don't care about the senior citizens. They don't care about the children that have to go to school with empty stomachs. All right. And Jesse, you and I both know as being, when I spent time in Otisville, the first 3 days, they didn't give me food at all. Zero. All right. I understand the concept of hunger. My father, who's a Holocaust survivor, my dad used to tell us stories on how hungry he was as a child when they would deprive food. And I never thought that I would ever experience anything like it, where it's no longer the pain that you have in your stomach from having no food. It's the pain that you end up feeling in your soul. It's a feeling of despair. And that is something that's unacceptable that this administration is imparting on the most needy of our country.
I felt that at Butner Federal Prison Camp. I felt that at FPC Montgomery, exactly, including, but not limited to, most of the food that they serve in the kitchen in prison. It has marked on the government storage boxes, not fit for human consumption. It's a big stamp.
By the way, I saw the same thing. My buddy called me over when the food I was fixing with a couple of friends of mine, we were fixing the fire hydrants. And my buddy comes over and he says, Michael, you got to see this. I wish to God I had a cell phone or a camera that I could have taken a picture. But literally, it was like 10,000 pounds of frozen quarter chicken, right? And it was coming from Canada, frozen in a big, gigantic block on pallets. And on one side, it turned around and had the expiration date, which was 2010. Mind you, this was 2020 when that arrived. It was 10-year-old frozen chicken. And on the other side was a major stamp on it that said, not fit for human consumption. In fact, that chicken was actually designated to be used for livestock.
I've seen it myself. John Lesiotis is muted. John, you're muted.
John, you're muted, brother.
John Diggles, while we're waiting for John Lesiotis to unmute. John Diggles?
I mean, what you and Michael have talked about here is exactly what's happening in these ICE facilities right now, right? This horrible way to hold people, making people sleep on floors. I mean, there's a responsibility we have of not only due process, but also humanity and the way people are treated. And to go back to, Jesse, to what you talked about with the Affordable Care Act, this act is 15 years old now. Republicans have tried to repeal the Affordable Care Act more than 70 times. They couldn't repeal it, so now they're starving it of funding. And everybody's saying, well, it's not so affordable anymore. You've chased so many companies away from participating in the marketplace. And in the meantime, there's 44 million Americans whose health coverage is in the middle of the crosshairs of a political fight. It is selfish. We're just not thinking big enough about how to make healthcare work in the country. And that's what you have is terrible treatment of every American who's in the middle of a terrible political fight.
John Diggles and John Lesiotis, I want to welcome and thank both of you for being on the program today with me and Michael Cohen. When we come forward in just a few moments, it will just be Michael Cohen and I to close down the show. I am so grateful for both of your participation. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. You're listening to the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show on KBLA Talk 1580. When we come forward, some more thoughts from Michael Cohen and, of course, his word of hope at the very end of our program. More when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
finances, and childcare. The JCOD hotline provides personalized help to connect you with services that you need. And don't forget to check out justiceconnect.org for more information. Remember, it's free and available every day at 1-833-522-5263. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Lena Bloom for the Bail Project. Imagine you're stuck in a jail cell and you can't afford bail and someone offers you a way out. Just plead guilty and you can go home and kiss your kids goodnight. What do? What thousands have. You plead guilty whether you are or not. Cash bail makes poverty a crime. That's why the Bail Project helps those who can't afford it while fighting to end cash bail. Because freedom should be free.
Brought to you by the Ad Council.
It's never too early to start talking about money in realistic ways with your kids. JP Morgan Chase navigates how to educate your kids now about creating long-lasting, healthy money habits. Whether your kids are in elementary school, high school, or college, now is a great time to start a conversation about ways to create healthy money habits as they grow, ultimately benefiting their financial future. Talking about money in a realistic way to support your kids' lifestyle and dreams, your first banking account geared towards high school or college. It's never too early. Explaining the basics, what you earn and what you spend, building financial confidence starts with getting organized. Learning and practicing vital money skills now will stay with them for life. Tools they will have to stay on top of their finances and achieve their goals. This segment is sponsored by JP Morgan Chase.
Now back to more of Jesse Jackson Jr. on KBLA Talk 1580.
The Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. 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 King Volley drop the beat. Come on and talk with me. Come on and listen to me.
Jesse Jackson Jr. Show. Tuesday, our very special guest in the remaining segment of the show is none other than Michael Cohen. Michael, I'm so grateful that you are here today. Michael, you've been doing a lot of work in the commentary space on the administration. Of course, you know, at the top of the show, we'll be ending with your word of hope, but share with us some of your chief concerns at this hour for our nation.
Well, as it relates to something, again, that you and I are working on very, very diligently, my concern is that while this Trump Emancipation Proclamation order, which will affect 70 million people, my biggest fear is that this administration, the folks that are around him, are so myopic in their thinking, they don't expand outside of what can be beneficial, again, to 70 million. All they care about is the 7D, right? And it's the 70 that are surrounding themselves. The first thing they're thinking is not, what does this do for my brother? What does this do for my sister who is afflicted by that scarlet letter? But rather, they're thinking about, how is this going to benefit me? Right? And they won't even bring it to the president. Now, fortunately, I have been able to use side channels, as have you. And I do know for certain that the documents are on his desk. The question becomes whether or not those that are around him will see the benefit, as you and I do, in terms of helping. I mean, this is a massive proclamation. This would be a massive order that many, many people would certainly benefit from, and certainly benefit in ways far greater than the executive orders that they are currently passing right now.
You know, Michael, I want to take this moment before we do get to your word of hope to say this. We use this number, 70 million men and women, both federal and state, when the president of the United States takes his position, and hopefully he will. Joe Biden had the opportunity to. But if in fact he issues an emancipation proclamation for federal offenders, nonviolent, who paid their debt to society in full and grants them a new life, it will far exceed anything Abraham Lincoln ever did with the Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st of 1863. Let me be clear on that, first and foremost.
Yeah,
Let me
by the
also-
way, by a multiple.
by multiples. And let me also add this. When I think about a small category of them, I presided over the House chamber for the Affordable Care Act. Nancy Pelosi came up with the idea that every member of the caucus would have 5 minutes to sit in the speaker's chair over an 8-hour debate. After a few hours of trying that, Democrats lost control of the House. They called me in my office, and for 5 hours on my feet, I presided over the Affordable Care Act when it passed the House of Representatives as the Speaker pro tempore. When asked the question, how do we pay for the Affordable Care Act? The Obama administration said that we are going to eliminate waste, fraud, and abuse in the system. What the system ended up doing was creating an algorithm, Medicare and Medicaid, that found everyone who bills Medicare and Medicaid large amounts of money for their services, including brain surgery or heart treatment or kidney diseases, and they investigated those who were making significant billings into the system. For example, a Dr. Michael Jones that you and I have worked with in New Orleans, Louisiana, has never done billing for his firm, never done billing, had more than 200 cases where he sent people to home care, and the government found 3 where there was overbilling. Dr. Jones said, I'd love to pay this back. I don't do accounting. I am invasive. I am an invasive cardiologist. He said, we'll be happy to pay it back. We didn't even realize it was an error. They locked Michael Jones up for 3 years. And now at age 55, he cannot practice medicine as an invasive cardiologist, leaving heart deserts in this country with more than 70,000 Dr. Michael Joneses who never went to school to be a crook, never figured out that it would be an accounting error that would send him to prison. One way or the other, consistent with what Michael Cohen has said, he has paid his debt to society in full, and he wants to get back into medicine. He wants to help save lives for people who need stents in their heart, invasive cardiology, and he can't get back in medicine until he's granted a pardon by the President of the United States. And he doesn't care if it comes from a Democratic president or a Republican president. He wants to live free. 70 million Americans in this country, Michael, deserve to live free. I can't
Yet,
for champions.
Yet, here's the craziest thing, Jesse. Trump just recently pardoned a guy by the name of Esformis, who had a $1.2 billion Medicare fraud. On top of that, with all due respect to Governor Tim Scott, who is now in this administration, he too was found guilty of violating Medicare, had the biggest Medicaid scam, I believe, in the entire state of Florida. But that's okay, because if you're part of the team, right, you can get away with anything. And that is the part that we all must turn around and say, enough is enough is enough. It's why shows like Jesse Jackson Jr. or shows like mine on YouTube or my Substack or my Mea Culpa, why it's so important that people subscribe, listen, share the information, because the extent of the misinformation, the disinformation, the malinformation coming from that right side, meaning the Republican side, is so overwhelming that most people, and especially with AI today, you don't know what's true or what's not. Well, one thing for certain, what you're going to hear on this show is definitively accurate. And I want to be clear about something. Unless we all unite, and I mean truly unite in our anger, unite in our desire to right the wrongs that are taking place, in order to unite to save our democratic republic and our valuable Constitution. Unless we do that, the 2026 midterms may not go the way that we need them to. And that would be an absolute shame. And that would be the end of this country.
Michael, a final word of hope.
Final word of hope. Of course, I turn it over to you, Jesse, in the fact that I pray for your father. I pray for your family. I pray for all of America. All right. That everybody should go into the new year with health and happiness and continued success in their lives. And whatever was bad for the year, leave that in last year and move forward to a new and a more prosperous, a happier and a healthier upcoming new year for every single one of you.
Thank you so much, Michael. And just before we do close out our show, can you share with us specifically how our listeners can stay in touch with your programming and your commentary across multiple platforms?
Just you go to whatever your platform is. If it's Substack, it's at The Real Michael Cohen. You can go to my YouTube channel, Michael Cohen, The Michael Cohen Show. And check out Mea Culpa wherever you get podcasts, or Political Beatdown, wherever you get your podcasts. It's on YouTube as well. So, whatever platform, if you just type in my name, you'll see my smiley face and you could subscribe and join.
Michael, happy holidays. Please give your wife and your kids a hug for me, okay?
And the same. And again, as always, my regards to Dad.
I promise I'll pass that on to him. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. Our very special guest in this past hour has been none other than the Michael Cohen, an amazing story, an amazing man, an amazing friend. And I want to thank him for his courage. It is very difficult when we look at the prosecutions of Letitia James and the prosecutions of James Comey and what happened to Fani Willis in Georgia. When we look at the vitriol towards the mayor of Chicago, the mayor of Washington, D.C., the mayor of Los Angeles, California, when we look at the smallness, the way in which the president of the United States talks about the governor of Illinois and the governor of California, the way he talks about Black women in Congress, Jasmine Crockett, this is a very, very, very different and dangerous season that we find ourselves in as Americans. This is normally a sacred season. Think about Christmas. We think about Thanksgiving. We think about turning to our neighbors. And this is the first Christmas and Thanksgiving period for me in my lifetime where the focus is a lot less on giving. It is a lot more on taking, and taking things that don't belong to us. And so I want to thank our contributors in this hour. We have so much more to talk about when we come forward on Tenacious Tuesdays. I'm Jesse Jackson Jr. More when we come forward on the Jesse Jackson Jr. Show.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Amber Payton with BIN News Now. Black Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett is running for U.S. Senate, but some political analysts say the odds are stacked against her.
Normally vote Republican, but really will not like Ken Paxton.
GOP strategist Vinnie Manchillo claims she's banking on Gen Z turnout, which has historically been low. No Democrat has won statewide in Texas in over 30 years. A dozen former FBI agents are suing after being fired for kneeling during a 2020 protest following the killing of George Floyd. The lawsuit claims their First and Fifth Amendment rights were violated, even though investigators later cleared them of wrongdoing. Senate Republicans are weighing different health care plans, with some pushing to keep Obamacare subsidies in place and others calling for the expanded aid to end. Lawmakers are set to vote on a Democratic proposal later this week, though it's unlikely to pass, and Republicans have not yet settled on a counterplan. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.